we on a sister ship. Come with us, we on a sister ship. Yeah, we on a sister ship. Roll with us, we on a sister ship.
Sister ship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sister ship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sister ship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sister ship, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it.
We're my sisters, we got this, sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya. We're my sisters, we got this, sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya.
Substance, sis, you know we on a mission, no games. Help each other get over some things. Build strength, bring change. Cause we've been through the rain. Now it's time to shine like bling. Let's talk about life skills. We building up our quality to right wills. We rolling out of poverty, love heals. So we become the prodigy of how a sistership could be a really hot commodity. Stand together, we united, hold hands. Support each other dreams and our plans. Doing everything we can. Just to show we understand the power of a friendship fam. Live life on purpose. Together we learn it. Yeah, let's talk. We don't wanna see you hurt. And we here for each other. No matter the color, networking. That's for sure and for certain. Come on. Yeah, we on a sister ship. Come with us. We on a sister ship. Yeah, we on a sister ship. Roll with us. We on a sister ship.
We're my sisters, we got this, sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya. We're my sisters, we got this, sisters.
We on a sister ship. We are on a sister ship. Hello, everybody. It is your girl, Stepfire. Today, we have an amazing cast, as you can see in front of us, panelists in the room. I can't tell you how excited we are as the sister ship. I want to just quickly say thank you to the parents, the students, the youth, John, Tiffany Cobling, Trinae. Are you in the camera, girl? Come on in. Come on in. And Terry Pickering, right here from Genesis Radio. We are happy to be here today because today it's about hate has no home. And it has no home here. So I want to quickly just talk about, because what we're going to do, just so you know, this is a youth takeover session. This is not about the sistership hosts.
We're stepping out.
Cass, we're stepping out of the picture because at the end of the day, we need to really understand that the youth is our future, right? They're the ones who are the voices that are going to carry on once we are old and gone, okay? But, you know, I know. But hey, that's what life gives us, right? You know, we got to grow and we got to move on and we got to pass the torch to our youth. I'm very happy to have everyone here today because there's been a lot of discussion about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? There's been a lot of focus on what's going on in our school systems. How are we managing through different things that are going on for our youth? And we don't really have a good understanding. A lot of us think we know, but we don't really know what's going on, right? So it really is time for us to allow the youth to take over and speak to their experience, speak to what is going on in the school systems, and also to help us understand what are some things that we can do collectively as the human race to progress forward. Because a lot of times we don't want to listen to our youth. Some people just don't want to because we feel that they don't know enough or they don't experience enough in life. And that is far from the picture that truly is represented in these school systems. They are going through many different obstacles and challenges, good, bad, or indifferent. We need to just understand, listen, and we need to, and that's what I'm saying, listen and hear, okay, what they're telling you, and let's progress forward because there are things that we could be doing together to make sure that this is something that we move forward and we implement, we look at opportunities, we field these concerns, and we address them. And I just want to quickly just talk about DEI for a moment. And what's interesting is that people don't understand that this has been in place for a very long time. Granted, DEI has been more pronounced over the last decade, but let's talk about the 1960s, probably around, even before my time, by the way. All right? Before everyone's time. Well, I don't want to say everybody, but before some people's time around here. Okay, let's just say that. So, you know, it really started in the 1960s when we talk about diversity and when we talk about what transpired in the mid-60s as relates to the workplaces, okay? You know, it was following an introduction to equal employment laws and affirmative action. The new laws prompted companies to start diversity training programs that would help employees adjust to working in a more integrated offices. Unfortunately, as we all know, anything that's implemented, you know, it just didn't progress forward as we anticipated. They had struggles with training programs, acceptance of these programs. And although some progress has made 60 years later, we're still challenged with this subject. You know, the misconception is those who are not affected by any inequities or disadvantages, no matter color, creed, religion, physical disability, or sexual orientation, see the need to be educated, informed, or feel the need they even want to create, or are blinded in wanting to create a more unified social and economic environment and stop the hate perpetuated in this country. This is a challenge that we're running into, and it's not just an adult society. It is happening within our school systems as well. With that said, I just want to quickly speak to each element because I attended a school board meeting. I'm in the Mount Pocono district. We don't have children, my husband and I, but we pay taxes. So we should be aware of what's going on, how our money is being spent, how the schools are operating. I have to say, from technology standpoint and development standpoint, we were very impressed, actually shocked. But I noticed that some parents were still challenged with the thought of DEI, not understanding what it meant, not understanding what the description or the definition was. So I just want to, and seem to not be able to find anything with Google or anything else to understand what the definition is of DEI. So I'm just going to break that down to three. Diversity, the practice or equality, and again, you can Google this and go to a dictionary. The practice or equality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders, sexual orientation, etc. Notice I didn't say race. Equity, the process of ensuring that processes and programs are impartial, fair, and provide equal possible outcomes for every individual. And inclusion, the practice of ensuring that people feel a sense of belonging. Now, that's simply put. Now, how you implement that is another story. And how in tune people are to this and how willing people are to this is a different story. And that's what we're here to talk about. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to John and Jessica, and there will be a round of introductions here. Again, I want to thank the parents that are here, Andrea, Trinae. I want to thank everyone I'm going to thank you guys in advance because I feel it's important. We do have parental permission, by the way, for the students that are here. Disclaimer, we have a disclaimer as well. Everyone's opinion, thoughts, whatever that comes out of anyone's mouth is the opinion of their own, facts or what have you. With that said, I'm going to have them take over now. I thank you again from the Sistahship. We thank you from the Sistahship from being on today. And we want you guys to go ahead and speak about your experiences, the challenges you're going through, as well as what ideas you have to progress forward so that we can truly be a human race.
And one thing before they take over the mics, how did we get here? Yeah. So we got here because we were invited to a Stroudsburg High board member meeting, okay, where 6 board members decided to dismantle the committee. So this is how we got here, and we're going to let you take it over. And that's all.
With that said, thank you all again. I'm getting off the mic. And Joelle.
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I guess age has some benefit, right?
Yes.
Stefani was trying to provide kind of an outline of things to look at or to talk about. And one of the things she says on here, how did you come to the realization that change is needed? And I think back in my own history, my own life, whatever, I knew about the time I was 10 years old that I was gay. I also knew that somehow I didn't feel like I fit in. One of the things that I don't want to forget to say is that I'm glad that at least now y'all can stand up and say something, because when I was growing up, that wasn't even possible. I didn't think that it was possible. I didn't think that anybody would hear me at all. Now, luckily, you do have some people in the community that are listening and are responding and are taking up the cause. And so that's why I am involved. Not only am I gay, but my late partner was African American. And so for all of this, it touches very, very, very close to home. And so that's why I have become involved. I do have no children. I do have stepdaughters and step-grandchildren and so forth. But I am a community member. I pay taxes, and I see the need to be involved and to actively participate and to try to make things better for people now than they were when I was growing up, and better for future generations after that. So that's why I'm involved and why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I honestly, DEI is important to me for a lot of reasons. I think, well, I mean, the most obvious, I'm a lesbian, and coming out in junior high school, hearing what kids would say, it was very discouraging at times, for sure. And I have become more politically active this year. But when I heard about the dismantling of the DEI committee, I was upset. But I hadn't really planned to really say anything about it. I had the Strasbourg School Board president reach out to me and ask me if I would be willing to speak and maybe find some friends that would be willing to speak with me. And I said, okay, sure, why not? And that's how you ended up here, and it's crazy to think, now we're here, and we're being able to be given the voice to talk about it. But I definitely think, while we all have similar experiences, they're not the same. I think DEI is important because, if you think about it, we really shouldn't even be here right now. The schools should be doing their job. They should be protecting us. We shouldn't have to be invited onto a radio show to talk about it in order for people to listen. So I think DEI is necessary because there are problems that have to be addressed. All right.
So it's my turn.
Well, do we want to do introductions?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, I'm Julian, and I am here for the same reason that Jess is here, because I personally didn't know too much about the DEI committee that was within our district until I heard that it got dismantled. And learning more about how the committee worked before it got dismantled, or reorganized, as our board likes to call it, it honestly seemed like a giant step backwards in the way that our district wanted to be handled. And just hearing the kind of things that gets told by students within the halls and classrooms, it just seems like them doing an action like this makes it seem like they truly don't know what it's like for a student within the district, and that it almost seems like they don't even want to listen to us or take our opinions into consideration. So of course I went with Jess to have our voices be heard on the situation, and because of this, we're here today instead of, as Jess mentioned earlier, the school doing its own job. And so, yeah.
and then I'm Jessica. This is John.
Hi, I am Mateo. I am here for the same reason as Jess and Julian. I saw Jess ask some people, through social media if anyone was interested in going to the board meeting and speaking out. And I was actually supposed to have work that day, but they took me off, thankfully. So I did end up going to the board meeting. And, before that meeting, I kind of didn't really know anything about the DEI committee. But, through Jess and stuff, I learned about it, and I was disgusted by the school's decision. Especially being there and hearing the board members argue certain things. It just disgusted me, and, knowing that something was different about me since about 7th grade, and hearing everything that students say all the time and the school doing absolutely nothing, it angers me. And so that's why I'm here.
I know for the three of us too, I think it's important to note we didn't just go to the school board meeting. We came up with speeches and we spoke, and we drew a bit of attention to ourselves.
Oh yes, we did.
For sure. So all right, Joelle.
Hi, I'm Joelle. Today I am here on behalf of the East Stroudsburg DEI Committee, which my mother is actually a part of. And I'm also bisexual. And over the past few years, I have experienced lots of microaggressions, just like not very nice words said to me, also to others, which is why I kind of struggled to tell people who I was. But within the past year, I've become more open with my sexuality, and I've also begun to become more a part of political things within my district as well as outside of my district. And a couple weeks ago, I actually spoke at the East Stroudsburg Area School District Board meeting on behalf of the DEI Committee, because even though we have one, it is still very much an issue within our community, as I've seen over the past few months, because I've been watching the board meetings and just seeing what people had to say about something. And then the fact that just because someone isn't directly affected by what's being said, they feel no need to learn or to become aware of everything that's going on around them. So me being able to speak today and at the board meeting, I'm hoping that I can change people's perspective on DEI as well as LGBTQ lives and everything else that's going on in our community. Thank you.
I think that the way our school district is talking about it, they're like, oh, we didn't get rid of it, we reorganized it, which they got rid of it.
It causes more problems.
Essentially, what ended up happening, we had a bit of a controversial incident happen at our school, right around the time George Floyd was murdered. It was a very emotional time, I think, for the country, and what happened in our district didn't really help. There was a TikTok of a girl who it was very derogatory. She said something along the lines of, white people have the right to say the N-word because we created it, and black people say it because they do what all black people do and they stole it. And this was a TikTok, and it went viral. Someone made it,
It was everywhere.
It went viral, and an actor from Jesse,
Sky Jackson.
she shared it, and when it finally got to that point, only then did our district say something. It had to go viral for them to address it.
You have to have how many people calling from Twitter
And
to get them to do something.
Exactly. Our school was getting threats and stuff, which that I don't condone either. But I think it speaks volumes. Like, this had to get to that point before you did anything about it. So anyway, the DEI at our school stemmed from that. They said, well, we need to address this. So from what I understand, high school principal sent out, or maybe on our level it was the high school principal, but I believe the superintendent might have even sent out something to the district teachers. If you are interested in being on this committee, please let us know. So the way the DEI was functioning for a while, it was within the district. It was teachers, a few alumni, and a few students. But there were some people in the community and on the school board who don't believe in anything DEI stands for. They don't believe in diversity or inclusion of any kind. And they believed that the private committee we had, that they were hiding things, they weren't being transparent. And something that's been brought a lot about is how DEI is just a disguise for CRT, which these people are like crazy about.
Yeah.
So ultimately, our school board made the decision to, like I said, reorganize this committee. But what they fail to address is when they reorganize this committee and open it up to whoever wants to speak, they're allowing racists into the conversation. They're allowing homophobes into the conversation. People that you can't have a DEI committee composed of people who do not believe in DEI.
Yes, which is very true.
Okay, now I want to step in here.
Yes.
As hopefully many of you know, if you don't know, the first board DEI committee meeting was on October 4th, and I printed out the minutes. I'm not going to really read anything from it. One of the things that there are a couple of things that are worthy of being repeated. They acknowledge that diversity is a fact and that equity is a choice. And this actually comes from the work of Dr. William Glasser, who was referenced by in a presentation by the executive director of the Colonial IU20 to present the perspective. And this particular Colonial IU20 director is actually on the Pennsylvania Department of Education DEI task force. And he has credentials, and what he's speaking about, he speaks with knowledge. I was actually heartened to see that they had brought in somebody who was kind of an expert in the field. And what I want to say is that we have to take what has happened. It's time to move on and to take what they are giving us, which is this board committee. The chairman of the DEI committee did open it up for public comment, so we had the opportunity to participate and to address those who were gathered. Wedged in here like little sardines. Ooh, wow. I want to try to start focusing on the future. I want to start focusing on what it is that we can do by continuing to participate, going to meetings, speaking up. I think it is very instructional and very powerful for the students coming forward. We know the students back in the beginning of this year at Strasbourg wrote a letter addressing issues in the school, a copy of which I had printed out and I've read it 100 times, if I read it once, right here, speaking to the issues of racism in schools. Something else that I've been working on too is looking at, and I want some feedback from the students here as to when things happen in the schools, what happens? In other words,
Nothing.
Well, but some things must happen. I mean, go ahead.
As far as I've seen it, the most that usually happens in the school is to start off, nothing happens until something like goes wrong to the point where the entire public knows about it, or there's actually public backlash. But if for example, if the student body was just complaining about it, the school would not do anything about it. They would not try to take action to prevent this thing from happening. But when they do something, at least through the TikTok situation that you mentioned earlier, they usually write a very strongly worded letter, post it to their social media, and that's it. They do not take any actions to prevent such a thing from happening again, or anything of the sort.
Seems as if they only do it to save themselves and their reputation.
Exactly.
Basically.
And it's not just like it's one school. I mean, we all attend Strasbourg High School, or the three of us. I know Joelle, you go to East Strasbourg. But since we have spoken at the board meeting, there has been action. We've been meeting with our principals, but that's only one school in the district. You know, it makes me wonder how other schools think.
Big problem in the district occurs in more the middle school and the junior high, more so than the high school. And so the high school taking action is great, but then what about the rest of the kids?
Do you find that to be the case in Strasbourg as well?
In East Strasbourg, I've definitely seen it in both. I just came over from the middle school this year. So with my experience there was a lot going on, and then teachers kind of just stayed out of it, except they didn't want anything to do with the issues that were going on. And as I've gotten into the high school, now a lot of it is coming from the teachers, and it's also coming from the students. In the middle school, it was more students, but now I'm kind of seeing it everywhere. And then when it's being brought to someone's attention, they'll do something, but they're kind of just doing the bare minimum to save themselves or to just keep it from getting larger. But they really don't find a way to just completely out the issue. So it's a combination of a lot of things.
So my sense is that I feel like nothing's being done. And probably as a consequence of that, there are a lot of things that happen that we never hear about because nobody reports it, nobody says anything about it because they figure it went off or didn't really seem to happen. We have this call.
Oh my God.
I'll take the call.
It's state representative.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Maureen. How are you? We're pretty good.
Okay.
Do you have a comment?
Mhm.
Yes, go ahead.
Am I on the air right now?
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. This is State Representative Maureen Matt. And I've been listening, and I'm so grateful and just so grateful that you all are taking on this topic, and then you have John there as your guest. When you're talking about the DEI program, you're talking about the school board, and you're talking about who the members of the school board are. It makes me think about Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, when he talked about how we can't walk away from this march being all proud of ourselves, that we have, come together, we've marched, and we've demanded, equality. It's not enough to do that here in this place. We have to go home and do that work. And I think about when the school board, when we elected Nico Patterson, the first African American school board member, and then elected her president, and then shut her down every time she tried to do something that would expand the board, that would improve the equality of education for students, and tackle the DEI program. This DEI policy committee that they put together was over 40 members. It was teachers, it was administrators, it was people from the students, like the students who wrote that letter, and they completely shut it down because they're control freaks and they want to have a DEI committee, but they want to make sure it's not too diverse. They want to make sure it's actually the really big issues about what should be read in schools and how diversity and equality and equity should be taught in schools. So,
Well, and ostensibly, part of the reason
thank you for.
that they say that they got rid of that administrative DEI committee wasn't transparent. Yet I went on, I only found it today, and so unfortunately I haven't had a chance to review all of the documents. But all of the members are listed. That seems pretty transparent. Agendas and minutes of their meetings were all published on the school district website. So that seems pretty transparent to me.
There's nothing secretive about it. It was being dealt with internally, but because people are never satisfied, they're like, they want it to be open to the public. And unfortunately, opening to the public means opening it to people. And then we don't get anywhere.
And thus destroying it from the inside.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole point of, the act of making it public just destroys the safe space that any student or anyone who would want to go there to have their voice be heard. It's absolutely gone. I personally wasn't there for the new public DEI meeting, but from the things that I heard, it just sounds like if you went there to talk about, say, an experience that you had, or if you actually wanted to get change done, you would get shut down immediately because every single person that talks there just seems more as if they wanted to harm it rather than help it.
Yeah. And Maureen, I just want to thank you for calling, because I obviously you do so much for our community, and it means a lot. Especially to have someone of your
Status.
call in.
Let me just say that thank you for that. I have a little trouble with the delay and hearing, so I apologize if I'm talking over you. Plus, I'm old. If I don't say things, I remember them.
It's okay.
I would like to say thank you to you. Thank you for your kind words. This is my job for which people elected me, and I get paid. Thank you to all of you, because you're the people in the community who are shedding light on this. John Geckhart doesn't have to go to every school board meeting. He does because he cares about education. So I applaud and I thank all of you for making sure that this topic is present and we don't ever forget. And I would just like to close by saying, Dr. Damari Bonilla, who is a member of the East Stroudsburg School Board, they did their DEI program exactly right, and they got the full board to board, and she offered to give some input to Strasburg, and they turned her down.
Are you kidding?
About the Strasburg board shutting you up, nobody should feel bad about that, because I'm the person who represents such districts, and when I get up to talk about things they don't like, they shut me down too.
They don't like us either. It's okay.
We have to change that school board and just keep voting in the people to make that school board work and reflect the students who go there. And right now, the students are diverse, but the faculty is not. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm in it. Whatever anybody needs, all they need to contact me. And thank you for all that you are doing. You're all just wonderful. Sistahship is wonderful and constantly talking about issues that are so important in the community, represent all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
You're
Another call?
Speak to Tiffany for a second.
You live on the air.
Oh,
Wrong number. So, wow, that is a lot of information to.
She was actually at the board meeting that I spoke at too, and
Were
she
you?
said a lot.
Yes.
I know her personally. She's fantastic. I love her. I go back with Joelle. We were in a show that Shauna Flick has together, and East Stroudsburg's board meeting was after the Strasburg ones. The three of us spoke at, and I saw you post, and she was like, "I'm speaking at the DEI meeting." I was like, "Oh, twins, okay." And I saw what you had to say, and that was incredible.
Thank you.
Well, I think, what I mentioned about all these school board meetings, because I think it's important that there's always been a bit of a thing between the boroughs, a rivalry that transcends just football. Like we can't do something like they do because we're better than they are, or whatever, whatever. It's nonsense, of course. But from my perspective, when I found out about what's going on in East Stroudsburg, and I actually so what are they doing there? What is it? It seems to me like you already have like boots on the ground, as they say, actually undertaking the work. Because I found out recently that there are actually DEI committees in the secondary and schools in the Stroudsburg School District. I talked to some of the faculty members at the high school who are part of that, and they're not really doing anything because they're waiting for leadership from the school board to know how to kind of proceed with what they need to do. I now know that in East Stroudsburg, like I say, they're already working on it. They're doing staff training and other things and all kinds of stuff, really, where they actually have a person working on that in the schools with the staff, with the faculty, already engaged in that work. I've also been going to, and one thing that I do want to say is that at Stroudsburg, we look at it and say, well, things are a mess. Trust me, they are worse than other places. As I mentioned earlier, Bradley and Pleasant Valley, they're not interested in doing anything. They've had people stand up at the school board meeting saying that they moved to the West End from places like Stroudsburg and East Stroudsburg to be around people who look like them and think like them and look like them, specifically to get away from
Diversity.
dealing with that diversity. They're making their choice that equity is not something to be pursued. Inclusiveness is not something that they're interested in. We have to realize that there are people in our society that are that way. But I think that most people, I have to hope, most people are not of that mindset. And then eventually we will be able to, by doing things in the school where we address it with students that are maybe more approachable. There are groups in our community like Monmouth County United and others that are working on this issue. I probably shouldn't be touting it. Look them up. They're having an event coming up soon. It's going to be very interesting. We would try to bridge those gaps in our community. Yesterday, I went up to Dana's Ferry. Met with 3 of the school board people, candidates running for school who were there. Met with people involved in diversity there. There's a lot of things that are going on that are potentially good things. These are opportunities for us to continue making an impact in our community. And we can't, I want to caution against us saying, well, they disbanded this, whatever. We still have a platform. We have the availability
Okay. I just wanted to ask, I was thinking about it. I know.
Oh, Mr. Johnson. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Darren, and I'm from the Brothership. I have more of a comment than a question. And first, I want to thank the youth that had the courage and the fortitude to come out and share their perspective. I think that that's the first step in acknowledging the opportunity that we have with respect to the diversity, inclusion, and equity platform. But the next thing, it's more of a recommendation as a student of history, you guys can be the change you want to see. And when I say that, respectfully, now you've got to take this message and then build coalitions, because right now, like home is different regardless of our politics. There's a mass amount of misinformation that's being disseminated here. So what's tending to happen is people are coming to these meetings woefully misinformed with what even diversity is about. You know, my personal experience is that there's a diversity of not just ethnicity, but there's a diversity in thought. There's a diversity in process. That's the actual winning or the order winner in true diversity. So you guys keep making it happen, and we'll be there to support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's what it's going to take, is people within the schools, people in the community like me, who care, who know that something needs to be done. I'll be honest with you, I had a couple of people trying to dismiss me and my involvement in this because, hey, I don't have any kids. Never have had any kids. But guess what? I went to school here and I care about my community. And when I see my mother's motto kind of was, my mother wasn't one to like teach me by saying words. She did like my late partner used to say, actions speak louder than words. But mom's motto sort of was, you know, if you see a need and you can do something about it, you do something, which by its very nature indicates that there's some things that you can't. You know, I can't do anything about wildfires in California, okay? There's really not much I can do about that. But when there's things in my own community right here that I can do, then I'm obligated. It's my responsibility as a member of the community. So whether or not I have children in the district or this or that or the other, I don't have all kinds of degrees, masters in education, ETD, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I think the criteria is different than that. So.
Something I know, obviously John and I talked about, you know, why this is important to us, why we're here, but I'm just kind of curious to see if, you know, you guys maybe just what led you here, what, you know, maybe like personal experiences or just things, you know, that happened at school that maybe led you to agree to speak with me.
If I personally would try to gain every single thing that I hear throughout so far through the school year, I feel like we've been for a time. But just to sum up things briefly, I personally feel like almost every single day in some of the classes I go to, there's food drops of any kind, and I've never seen any teacher take action against student or even bring it up, like not even give discipline to the student, but rather just mention something like, hey, let's not say something within this classroom. No, usually the teacher just lets students lie that under their radar, and I feel like that is part of the issue in the sense of these students can just get away with anything regarding these kinds of things, and it just kind of adds on to, well, they feel like they can do that.
Something I think too, sometimes teachers don't just let it fly under the radar. Sometimes teachers hold the same view.
And they don't say anything because they believe the same thing.
It's absolutely crazy. I know there's one teacher, I mean, Strasbourg's interesting because you have teachers like, you know, one we all know and love, if she's listening, Mrs. Bott, who embrace all of their students, respect them, make sure they're safe. And then you have teachers, there's a teacher we had that retired last year who made derogatory comments about me. I wasn't even in her class. And we all have a friend named Venus, who uses they, them pronouns, and Venus was a student in this teacher's class, and this teacher flat out said, I will not call you your name. It's not your legal name. I refuse, even though, you know, you're calling cisgender students their nicknames, and you're not questioning it. It just comes down, and we've talked with our principal about this. It comes down to basic respect.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't even have to quote unquote agree,
Yeah, and
but that's your student. You respect them.
being a teacher in a public school, you are in a public school. No matter what your views are, you have to respect the students for who they are, what they want to be, and if you
You make sure they're safe.
yeah, exactly.
Like, I am a transgender student. And at the beginning of this year, I emailed 3 of my teachers telling them my name because those were the only 3 that I felt safe enough to tell. When it came to the point where I was changing my name on my ID and stuff like that, the guidance counselor emailed all my teachers letting them know, which I did not know was going to happen. But there were a lot of teachers where I really did not want them to know. For example, there was one teacher where I walked into her room the day after, and she always would be like, "Hi, good morning, like, how are you?" But she just kind of looked me up and down and went, "Good morning." We were just like, "Hello," which was like, "Oh, okay, got it."
And then that also adds on to another thing of like, if every single, at least starting in junior high, I've always been told which teachers you are safe to talk to and which ones you're not, and that just kind of adds like I have to I'm playing like almost like a minefield here of I have to watch what I say where, because if a specific teacher that I've been told is not so nice hears anything of the sort, it's just like what could happen then. And there's also like, especially during the junior high, there's that one teacher where I would always skip by whenever his hallway, especially if I was someone violating dress code or something like that, because I knew that he was not this type of teacher where you could talk to about anything.
Yeah, and the first day of school going in, I was examining all my teachers closely to figure out who was okay, who I could be myself around.
When you knew your class schedules, do you have input into what classes you take with what teachers?
No.
So
you can take,
the computer spits it out and you just go first period.
you can take certain electives.
Teachers,
You cannot
teachers teach certain courses.
Yeah,
you
you
can choose
cannot-
a course, but not your teacher.
You're not allowed to, yeah.
If there's multiple teachers per course, you don't get a choice on who you pick.
It's kind
So
of
you're kind of just stuck with it.
crapshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here just for 1 second.
This is my mom.
I'm Jessica's mom. I'm Andrea. And I want to say a few things. I'll be very brief. The first thing I need to say is I am so over the moon impressed, and that's the only word I can think of right now, over the moon impressed with all of the young individuals that are here sitting at the table. I think it's amazing that you are able to give your feelings a voice, and that school is supposed to be a safe haven. School was designed for kids to go to feel like they were being nurtured and taught and educated and respected. I don't understand. And that's the thing I keep saying. I don't understand. I don't understand how we got here. But I am beyond impressed with the kids that are sitting here. As adults, we should take a look at what we can do. If these kids can sit here and tell you what they're feeling and tell you what they're thinking and as to why can't we step back as adults and do the same thing and do right by our kids? Because they're the future.
Oh, that's sweet.
Period.
I just want to throw the phone number out there for callers real quick.
888-304-4401. So for callers to call in, it's 888-304-4401.
Thank you.
One thing I don't exactly understand within the school system is how heavily they preach mental health.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
And
that-
then they turn around and
Traumatize you.
exactly.
Exactly.
It's almost like they're creating patients.
It's a
for-
cycle.
It's funny. We joke about it because the board meeting we all spoke at, there was a specific board member who said students are mentally ill.
And there was just a line of us. We were like, what if we're right here?
And I think Maureen, when she spoke before, she said, how the staff is representative of the students. Something and I've talked to teachers about it. How are we a district, Stroudsburg? How are we a district that is 52% people of color, and we have 3 teachers of color? I mean,
We have that issue. We have
Entire
one
district.
person of color.
Are you saying teacher?
And that's where? What
At
school?
High School North, we have one
Right,
black
North.
teacher.
Okay, so you go to North.
My mother was the other one, but she ended
Got a
up
call?
getting a new job. So we have one. Wait, no, there's 2
Got a call.
actually. There's
Gotta call her.
a new
One second.
Sistahship, we got a caller. How are you?
I'm good. This is Mama C, and I just want to say bravo to everybody who's sitting there on the panel today. And double bravo for Jessica's mom. You know, we keep preaching that children should respect adults, but very rarely do we hear that adults should respect our children.
Absolutely.
And especially our young adults. Because you know what? Everybody's trying to play God, but nobody wants to be human. We need to practice being humane.
Absolutely.
And start acting as though everybody matters.
Right.
Not just who we want to matter, but everybody. We all matter.
Right.
And that's so important. And until we all get that and start respecting each other and let God do God's job and we do our job as human beings and love one another and support one another, nothing's going to change. So right here, this is a sign that we can begin to make change when we respect each other and we open up ourselves to one another and begin the process to making the changes that are essential. It begins by listening, communicating, and embracing who each other are.
Right.
That's all I have to say. Continue on. Great conversation.
Thank you, Mama C.
Absolutely. Thank you. Respect it goes 2 ways.
Yes, it does.
You cannot expect your students that you have, children that you have, to completely respect you if you completely disregard anything they say.
Exactly.
I think yes. Okay. Wow, I have so many thoughts. Right
So
now.
let me ask you, Joelle, you're coming from a different, I don't want to say
I'm just.
It's
separate
North.
district. So
Yes.
so talk about North because
Well,
I think your experiences are somewhat just a tad different,
I've heard
but you
things
also
about
have
yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on
A lot going on at the moment.
Well, this is your platform.
There's a platform.
Let's
Let's
go.
do
We
it.
have a very large Hispanic population in our district, and I know of one Hispanic teacher that I have myself, and I haven't seen
We have none.
others. So I'm just like, you have a very large population of Hispanic students. So let's say they have an issue, and you want them to go to a white person and tell them their issues when there is no way for them to understand what they're going through as a person of color. So our lack in our district is just POC representation, because if you have a student having an issue, they're going to want to go to someone who looks like them, someone who has similar issues as them, to be able to talk about what they're feeling. And that's a very big lack, because I know people that are just like, I'm not going to guidance. Like, I have a big problem, but I know if I go, that this is not going to get anywhere. It's either going to get worse or nothing's going to happen at all. So they end up just keeping things to themselves, which then goes along with the mental health issues that we have within our district. The teachers don't seem to recognize, because in our district we have this thing called Wellness Wednesdays. So every single Wednesday we stay in home for an extra hour, and they do like SEL activities, which really aren't doing much. And then they want to preach about how mental health is important. Then have students staying up to 2 a.m. trying to complete an assignment that you gave them.
No,
How-
I just want to jump in here one more minute, and I promise I will not take it. You talked about the guidance counselor.
Oh, you're gonna pop off, Mom.
I have a personal situation. In the Stroudsburg area school district, this was several years ago. My son was struggling. He transitioned from one of the elementary schools into the middle school. And I took it upon myself to speak with the guidance counselor that was there at the time, to try to intervene, to see if he could at least meet with my son once every 6 days in a cycle. Now, I didn't think that was really an outrageous request, given the circumstances. I felt that that was something that was in the realm of reason. Not only was I shut down by the principal, it took me writing a letter that went to the Board of Education and sat on the superintendent's desk to get a phone call.
And now we know where I get it from.
After that phone call transpired, there were several meetings, and I actually had a meeting with this guidance counselor, sat across from the table of this guidance counselor, and he said to me, after I had spoken to him and said, listen, this is not my first rodeo. I myself was born with a disability. I kind of know how things kind of sort of work, and if I'm asking you as a parent to help intervene on my child's behalf, and he has a GIEP, which is a gifted individual education plan, you can look it up, it's within my rights to have that, then you need to accommodate. And this guidance counselor turned to me and said, I am sorry, I just didn't know how to deal with you, given your situation. My situation is that I'm also disabled. And for that guidance counselor to sit there and belittle me and dismiss me because he didn't feel he could talk to me because I was disabled, and that I was projecting whatever it was that he thought I was projecting onto the situation, had nothing to do with my situation. I wanted him to help my son.
You know, I listened and I heard this story, you know, previously when we spoke. And this is where I think, you know, again, when we're talking about this show and we're talking about you guys speaking out, it is about everyone. It is about people of color. It is about people who have specific disabilities.
Yes.
It's about LGBTQ community. It's a holistic picture. It's about differences in individuals, regardless of anything. And it goes back to even when Darren from the Brothership mentioned, you know, about even diversity of thought, you know, and I think the problem is, and you said it best, Joelle, when you said, you know, I have, you know, there a huge percentage of Hispanic community, right, in the school system. I have one teacher.
One. There might be more, but
one that you're aware of.
Yeah, one that I'm aware of.
But when we have people who are and you can speak for yourselves, of course, but if you're not comfortable approaching someone who understands what you're going through, it's difficult to approach that person. I cannot speak for someone who is a person of color. You know, I cannot, I've not experienced what you've experienced. All I could do is hear, listen, and hopefully help. But at the end of the day, this is why diversity, equity, inclusion, and we look at it from not just the student body, but even those who are in charge, our board, our teachers,
Absolutely.
our elected officials. Like, this is a collective experience that needs to happen, and it's not happening.
And to know that you're trying to reach all of your students, not just some of your students.
The white ones.
You know,
So-
some of the students. It has to be all of the students.
What we also need to do is get involved, right?
Right,
Yes.
you have to be involved.
Because we had a board member, or I believe an assistant principal, at one point say, and this wasn't in the recent meeting, but a while ago, say, why are you fighting this fight? Look behind you. So I'm saying that because when you look behind,
There's nobody there.
there's nobody there, and there's
there.
nobody that's getting involved.
Right.
I wanted to crawl up underneath my seat at the meeting that you had, and I saw you speaking.
It was
It was disheartening to watch the board members up
I
there.
wanted to
And I want to
I'm
say
sorry.
6
I'm
board
sorry.
members.
Can I? A board member said that at Stroudsburg. Look behind you.
This was a while ago, so it
Oh.
wasn't, no. This
Oh,
that's what I said.
okay.
It wasn't at this board meeting, but it has happened before, right? You got to get more involved
Right.
in your community and what you're doing and the voting to vote the people who are in power out.
Yeah.
Because what was disheartening is to watch one of those board members sit there and he was talking and I said, man, this man needs to retire. Okay,
Oh.
he needs to go, have him a martini or whatever.
Yes.
He has done his job
And needs
and
to
he
go.
needs to go. Okay, because he was so belittling that I wanted to jump up and hit him. I'm not kidding.
We are not violent people. I just want to be clear on that.
I'm behind
We're not
you.
violent. We're not violent. Okay.
I,
But I'm sorry. In the manner in which he spoke up
Yeah, it was
on that
belittling
yes.
and disrespectful.
board was belittling and disrespectful. It was almost as he was telling the audience they couldn't read.
Yes.
I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Yes.
It took everything, all my strength.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Where does this man come from?" Because
So I know
Out of control.
it burns. It really burned us up. And John, you were there, and obviously the students here who were there
I was there.
at that. You know, I'll say
You were
this.
there.
I was there. I was there.
You were there as well. I'll say
Insane.
this. This goes back to really understanding again, you know, when you are used to something, that's all you know, and you're not willing to change.
Very true. That was part of my
It's
That's it.
going to be what it's going to
You
be.
need to want to change. You need
And
to accept the
Exactly.
change.
You need to accept the change. Now, a lot of people feel it's forced change, right? So
Mhm.
change is very, very hard for a lot of people. A lot of people.
All of us.
You know, all of us.
Yeah.
But at the same token, again, you have to look at the level of your student body and say, oh my God, how do we relate to our
Yes.
students?
Mhm.
How do we relate to who's in this room?
No one's really concerned about that at the moment. Like, you have teachers that you can go and talk to that actually care about how you're
I'm
feeling.
sorry, can you go a little closer
Yeah,
to the mic?
that
Speak up.
want to be able to know how to best approach you or to help you through an issue. Then you have teachers that are just there to do their job and don't care about the students, how the students are feeling, or care to even learn how to approach them or like their way of learning. So you kind of just have to learn the difference between the two, who you can go to for something and who you just have to get through the class with and not really do anything about it.
That's the disheartening thing. That's exactly the disheartening thing, because we talk about trauma to students, right? And Jessica, I think you were possibly bringing that up about trauma.
I'm sorry, wasn't that one of the issues?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Trauma team.
Right, the trauma team. And I was sitting there and
Go
going,
ahead, Jessica will tell you this.
Go ahead,
No,
Jessica.
No. I was just gonna say, if we're on the topic of mental health and ableism, Christian Hall. I have gotten to know his family very well. I organized a march for his family, but I think Christian Hall was not the only kid like Christian Hall, you know, and I think our school system, they're beyond failing people that struggle with mental health issues, that are physically disabled. It's crazy. His father spoke at the same board meeting as the three of us and John. And you know, he said, you know, before he's heard like, oh, well, you sound smart for a black guy, you know, and his son was Asian. His son was an Asian American adoptee, and apparently, you know, and you know, there's these Asian American kids now. You know, we see with the way society is with coronavirus. They're being made fun of. You know, they're being told, oh, you can't see, you can't drive. You know, they're being called all kinds of derogatory names. And it's atrocious. And you know, at the board meeting, students don't have mental health issues. It's like, well, for starters, we're starting at 7 a.m.
Right.
Okay.
You have to get up at about 5:45
And,
a.m.
you know, they do things like, Joella, what you were talking about, like Wednesdays. Our school, a deep breath moment. Well, what the hell good is any of that if
Right.
you're discriminating against us? It doesn't do anything.
How are we supposed to learn in a be mentally healthy and learn in an environment where
If we're not even accepted.
Exactly, we're constantly like in the hallway. I'm scared to even like walk past certain students.
You just know because you just hear them yelling out slurs every single day. You can't go a sentence without saying something.
Absolutely.
Like what? I don't get it because we had a situation on Friday, I think it was, and we have a transgender girl at our school, and people were going around Snapchat saying some awful things, and it just became screenshot share everywhere. And then someone finally spoke up about it and said something against it, and then more people were still not on their side. And we're trying this week to bring that to the attention of the school.
Good.
But I don't really think they they're not going to do much about that.
Literally, I think that mental, so this is exactly, I mean, to your point, Jessica, and what transpired, obviously. What the board of directors, school board of directors, superintendents, teachers, things of the like, and even students, because bullying has been in place forever, right?
Forever.
It's just a different type of bullying these days. Trauma and mental health is required. Mental health help is required because there are traumatic experiences that students are going through, not just in their social environments in schools, even outside of their school environment, that they're picking up on. And it's creating a lot of, concerns, anxiousness, all type of things. And I say PTSD later down the road, possibly. Go ahead.
Something I want to add on to
Yeah.
that is we talked about like how they did the breathing moments last year, and one main thing to look at is the only reason at least Strasbourg started caring about mental health was because of coronavirus and lockdown. Anything before that, they had no word on it, and it adds on to the point we made earlier of the school, the Strasbourg Area School District does not address things until they need to.
Yes.
And like honestly, it just kind of, I want to make things very clear. It almost seems as if they were shoving these things down our throat as fast as they could, and it just
So they can say, "Look at us, we're doing the right thing."
right exactly when truly they weren't. They were and the mental health they were only focused on mental health that affected because of lockdown, which I will say is very important. But if you are only going to focus on this one thing, it's not going to solve much because there are students that have come before who have graduated, and students that are currently in this district who have had mental health issues. Partly could be due to the COVID lockdown, but it's for other reasons as well. But that was never addressed.
If I may, while we were in the three of us, so we meet with our principal bi-weekly. When we were in the office the other day, there was a girl escorted into a fight. Found out that fight transpired because one girl said to the other, and forgive me, if you dress like a dyke, I'm going to beat you like you're one. And as a lesbian, I'm told all the time, well, you're not that kind of lesbian.
Oh.
You're different. You're toned down. Like you're not stereotypical. And sometimes I'm kind of like, but
a phrase I hear people say is rainbow. Like you're not a rainbow one.
Yeah.
Like
well, I'm very rainbow. I mean, very rainbow. But no, it goes to show. We're sitting in the office talking about how can we further equality for kids like us. And then a girl's being escorted in because something like that was said.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing?
Nothing.
Is anybody listening to this? And this is, I urge people out there.
Please
call in.
Please call. I'm
Like,
so fired up.
All right. I have something
Y'all don't
else
want
to
some
say.
of these people to call them.
Go ahead. Yeah, no. Joelle, I want Joelle. You have a lot to say.
I
and
do.
really want you because
I don't even know what topic because I see things every single day. I experience things every single day. Just like the things that people are saying. So again, we have a large population of Hispanics. We also have a large LGBTQ population.
Boy.
pick up.
Yes.
The Sistahship, thank you for calling. The
Hello.
Sistahship, hello.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Hi. This is Jane.
Hey, Jane. Jane, you want to turn your radio down, please?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
She got to turn up her phone down or whatever computer.
Cagliardo.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's Jane Gagliardo. I just wanted to say, I think it was Jessica who said, "What the hell are we doing here?" Listen, don't give up
That's right.
ever for this fight. Don't ever give up. I'm an old woman, and I'm telling you, I've been protesting since the 50s and 60s for women's rights, abortion rights, civil rights, you name it. And you in there, don't ever give up, because when you do that, you will come completely demolish everything that you think you've not accomplished. You have. Look where you are right now. You are on the Sistahship show. You're getting speak, and this should not be the last time you should be on the show or any show for that.
You hear that?
Bring us back.
Use wisely. You cannot let other people tell you that what you are doing or who you are is not worth anything. Don't ever allow people to get in your head like that. The only way to fight this fight is to continue to bring awareness and light to what you believe in.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want me to
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Joelle, I know you had some
Yes.
things to say. So I just want to be very cognizant. There's people out there that are not going to be accepting of anything that's said in this room, and that's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. Respectfully, we are a total human race, regardless of what people view anyone as. Again, I go back to, we need to have our focus on the diverse nature of every single person, whether it be sexual orientation, creed, color, religion, physical abilities. I want to be very clear to the audience that's out there that may be addressing this in other forums. We are a human race. Whatever your political views are, whatever your religious views are, understand this. We are all still a human race, and we need to treat everyone as such.
Stronger together.
We are strong, exactly. Divided, we fall. We are never going to progress forward in a society that is not accepting of everyone as a human individual on this earth. With that said, Joelle, I want you to speak to what you said.
Okay. I'll talk about LGBTQ at North, or well, just in our district. There is a new student. I don't want to go too into it because I don't want to call her out or anything. But she's not the only one that has experienced what's going on at our school. But because she's new, I feel bad because you're coming into a new environment and you just have everyone just saying these things about you. Like, I was walking down the hallway with my friend and we were on our way to lunch, and a group of boys just yelled out to her, "Oh, look at that dude." Like, what is wrong with people? And then I don't understand, why are people so concerned about what someone else is doing? Like, just because someone wants to be with a girl, why does that concern you in any way? Why does this affect you in any way? Why do you feel the need to say something negative about that person? And it's just been continuous for as long as I can remember, which is why I struggle to even tell people about me. When I first came out, I just kept it to a small group of people because I hear what people have to say. I hear what people do, and I didn't really want to put myself through that. So I kind of kept that to myself, but I've become more open because I'm just like, I know who I am. And at this point, I don't really care what you think of me because that's not going to change me or myself. But at my school, we have a GSA, a Gay Straight Alliance, and the person that runs it, she's wonderful. She's like one of my favorite people. I don't even have her as a teacher, but she's very good. And her daughter is a lesbian, so she like has background information, and she's very supportive of the students in our school without even like knowing them. Like, she likes to reach out and make sure people are okay because she understands what goes on because of her children. So as far as LGBTQ, I believe it's a very important issue that we need to talk about, because even though like we have our group set up for these kids, lots of things are still going on with this issue that people aren't really bringing to the surface. But my hopes this year is to try and bring these things out so people, like, obviously people know, but if you're not going to explain to people what's going on, change can't really happen. And then you also have those that know and just have no need or no want to like do any change or be a part of the change. And this also comes back from like generations of people that were taught a certain way and are just ignorant and don't want to like help, don't want to change their ways because they feel like their ways are right. And
I just want to interject one thing. I have a note here. I don't know where I got it from, but as you're saying this, it's like I wrote down here, the DEI committee can be a platform for the education of the public. This isn't just for inside the schools. You're talking about people having grievances. We know that when there are incidences in the school and one of the fellow students is involved, they got that from somewhere. Where does that come from? There are a lot of possible sources, but usually, the parents are probably involved in that somewhere.
Most of the time.
I don't know why I wrote that down,
So,
but you're kind of speaking to that because of what's going on in the community as a whole, and there's a rejection of that. But part of it seems to me that the greater purpose for a DEI committee and the work of the DEI committees in the school systems isn't just for the people, for the students in the school, but it is something, it is a part of the public education of the community as a whole. Okay, if I didn't get that,
So,
I couldn't miss it.
really quickly before everybody speaks, I had the quick opportunity to take a look at a video that came out on Friday, Dave Chappelle's, right? Okay, I didn't wait before anybody gets upset. What I am referring to here is DEI is a diverse with everybody, right? The platform happens to be LGBTQ community and everybody in the school. You all get your word out because you stick together and everybody brings that out. See, everybody wants change, but not everybody wants to come out for change. Okay, so a lot of people have an opinion that, oh, we always fighting for the LGBTQ community. Right? Keep dragging the big stuff, right?
It's okay.
But it's because when we try to get a diverse and have everybody coalition in, look at what's behind us. Because I can't even tell you how hard it was to pull us together. Okay? Also, with the factor of mental health, it may not be right for you, it may not be right, but it is an important factor to people. And if you have the right person in place in a school that looks like me, or looks like her, or looks like you, that a child can feel like they can go to and talk to, that makes a huge issue, a huge difference. I'm sorry. So with saying that, we have a bus driver who clearly we feel as if he doesn't know how to deal with the kids of color. He's been on this bus for a couple years. I've had discrepancies with him, but I kind of left it alone. Okay, my kid rides the bus. I don't want her to have any issues on the bus. Let me, whatever, because I know how to bring the heat. Right. But let's work this out, right? So he decides that during COVID this year, because now I'm fed up, right? Because he decides during COVID this year, because there were a group of kids on the bus that, I don't know, he couldn't control. Now he can't drive and drive and control a bus, but understand that you have to, even if you're driving, you have to be able to control the kids that are on the bus. Okay, so he stops because he doesn't like, I guess, what's going on the bus or what's happening. But he was so pissed off that instead of him bringing those kids home, he turned the bus around and went back to the school. So I called the school and I said, I'm sorry, but during COVID, you turn around with kids on the bus and go back to the school? I don't understand. So I called the school and we went through some scenarios and they said they would take care of it, slap on the wrist. Don't get me wrong, the principal is great. Responded back to me really fast. We all, okay, no problem. Kind of left it alone. They were looking into it or whatever, but then you call and you kind of don't get anywhere. So I'm like, you know what? Enough is enough. We had another incident this week, right? Well, we actually had one of our people, Miss Hillary, used to go down and get my kids for me. The same bus driver called the cops on Miss Hillary. Okay, and we were like, what? So that was one issue that we just left it alone. The second time, well, the other day, I went down there. I finally had enough. I went down there this week and I spoke to him. And he says to me, oh, and your child is one of them. And I said, interesting. If my child is one of them, why am I just hearing about it now? This has been an ongoing issue, right? But because I decided to confront him, he's going to tell me, oh, it's one of your kids too. So I wrote a nice little letter to the superintendent and the principal to let them know if there is an issue with my daughter, because believe me, first and foremost, I asked her, what did you do to contribute to what's going on in this bus? Because you need to tell me before they tell me. Because you know, if they tell me before you tell me, I'm getting in your ass. Excuse me. That's how I roll. Okay? That is how I roll.
Does that sound
Okay. So, with that being said, this has continued for a while with some of the kids on the bus. So we're like, okay, well, we'll do a petition. Now it's enough. Somebody needs to look into this bus driver. So this is why we're talking about DEI. But again, why we're all sitting here is because we've asked several people to help us out here so that we can bring diversity, so that everybody can speak. Look who was behind me. It was a struggle to get everybody. So please do not say that nothing is being done when we're at a board meeting and I look behind me and there's nobody behind me. But
trying.
Right, exactly. Because you can't fight the fight by yourself.
Full representation.
Full representation of the people who are having issues needs to be there. Absolutely. Okay. Also, mental health is huge. Okay. So we can't discredit it because there are people that need it. My family, I happen to have a lot of people who are with mental health issues, right? And I know about it and certain things. So certain things help them, you know. But we all got to know how to help an individual or how to help that person. So yes, maybe more mental health in the schools. It's huge right now because we're all struggling, right? Everybody, nobody in here can tell me they ain't struggling because we have 17 months of going in the house.
Hibernation.
Okay, so if we're going to be about it, we got to come out, we got to vote. John called me up and he said, Tiffany, I need you. Oh, okay, no problem. See, because I wasn't always at the board meetings. I would go to Zoom and I wouldn't say much because it was, you know, I had my stuff going on. But you know what? Somebody said to me, you got to make, I think it was you, Stephanie, or somebody said to me, it's only once a month. Right. If you're really concerned, you're going to make the time the issue to do it. Show up or be quiet. Exactly. Because if you're not going to show up, then you can't be concerned or you can't
yell
when something happens later. Because see, what we tend to do, okay, is we wait till it and then we want to fight. But
so Tiffany's a little passionate right now.
And then we want to fight. But we can't fight if we're not there to see what is going on. So if I go to anybody in my community, a lot of us don't even know who's on the board or who's on the ballots.
Yeah.
Who is voting? Who are we voting for? No one has even taken the time to probably Google who's on it or no. You know what I did last week? Googled everybody.
Yeah.
Tell me who this person is. Tell me who this is that is going to sit on this board. Because I need to know. Because who I saw on the board, that was scary. I said, holy crap.
So Colonel Sanders.
So let's take it a step back because I think we're in a phase of this discussion because I know we could be talking about this forever and I just want to be cognizant of time and the audience and obviously everybody here. We know there's opportunity, huge opportunity. I've said it right in the beginning of the intro, right? That there's obviously not a clear understanding or education. And John, you made mention of that as well. The parents need to be educated. I experienced a parent that didn't even understand
what DEI
was, nor looked in the dictionary to really get a clear understanding. But neither here nor there. The whole point is we have to be educated, okay? Because the problem is, again, misinformation that is being fed to individuals to really take us away from progress. And really, we're always about fighting each other. And whatever it is, it's COVID, mask issues, vaccine issues, race, sexual orientation, blah, blah, blah. This has been a constant struggle in society forever, right? The question is, how do we move forward? And I think for the youth here, I hope you don't mind I call you the youth because I'm almost 50, so I'm just throwing it out there. I may not look 50, I'm almost there. But for the youth, right? We want to make sure we understand because again, it's about listening and hearing what needs to be done and coming from the youth who represents the majority. right? What are some of the ideas or things? What can we do better? And I say we collectively, because it's not just about the sistership. It's really about everyone.
Something that really, forgive my language, pissed me off. I attended the same meeting as John. I attended the first meeting of this new reorganized public DEI committee, because I'm like, if I'm gonna make such a fuss about it, I'm gonna show my face. Okay, I'm not gonna like raise holy hell and then not show up, because that's just not how I roll.
Number one opportunity.
You know,
right?
And one of the board members goes, "Why don't we have a case study to find out about discrimination in our district?" A case study? We're right in front of you. What the hell is a case study? You know, it's just frustrating because all of us spoke. We were all cut off because we only get 3 minutes. They get an hour and a half to ramble on about absolute nonsense, and we get 3 minutes to talk about discrimination we are facing in the Stroudsburg Area School District.
Yeah, they spent half an hour talking about masks at recess.
They want to listen to us. Don't stare at us blankly like you're not aware that discrimination exists in our district. Pay attention. Ask us back. The only person that reached out to us was our principal. The morning after we all spoke at the board meeting, we were all called out. We all thought we were done. We were going to get suspended. He's the only one that reached out. Not a single board member. And they want to claim we're diverse, we're doing this. First of all, almost all of you are white, except for the president that nobody listens to. They dismiss her because apparently she created racism in the district.
There's one that thinks that everything is fine.
Okay? You know? Case study. Where's the case study?
And I think another thing that
There's a lot of passion here. I get it. There's a lot of passion here. So I want to make sure that everyone is heard. But yes, go ahead.
I think another thing that happens.
No. You're absolutely.
Fine.
This should show exactly how important it is to everybody.
Is that, especially the school board, they don't know, like, if they're not going to listen to the students and what they have to say, they don't go to our school. They just go to the board meeting every first and third Wednesday of the month, discuss some things that they think are a concern, and then they go home and they do their own things. But they don't understand. They don't go to our school. They don't go to Joelle's school. They're not in our shoes. They don't hear the things that we hear. They don't see the things which we see. And like Jess said, if we go up to them and have 3 minutes to talk, and then they listen, and the most response we get is "thank you for talking," and then they move on with it as if we didn't say anything. It's just like it makes you feel powerless. And I mean, honestly, I honestly thank our principal for reaching out to us and just like trying to get something done, but like nothing's getting done. We went to the next meeting, which was next week on Wednesday, and they didn't have public.
But we sat there anyway and listened to them talk about the rifle team. We sat there, we showed our faces, because it's about showing up all the time, not just when it's convenient.
Yes, very true.
But it's like, and I didn't expect to go to this meeting and then to have like the DEI committee to be addressed, but it's just like, how long will it take? How long will it take for us to keep going and keep mentioning things until they're like, okay, maybe we should solve this? How many people need to file a complaint before they do something about it?
They need to open up their minds to more people than just the straight white man in the district.
Yes, very true. They need more representation.
Absolutely.
Across all the boards.
I used to go to a school, an elementary school, and there was maybe 2 families of color. And so when I moved to Stroudsburg, it was kind of a culture shock, like the amount of diversity. But like I said this in my speech in the original board meeting, it was shown to me very, very quickly that our district does not want to represent the diversity in our school and does not care to show those students respect.
So I think, you guys, and I'll succinctly say it, I think the biggest opportunity, we got a call. This might be our last call.
Okay, please. 1 second, wait 1 second, cool.
Okay.
Hello, caller, this is the Sistahship.
Hi, Miss West.
Hi.
Hi, this is Sherry West. I'm calling from Stroudsburg High School.
Everyone, this is your girl, Steph-Fire. I just want to say we needed to come back to the room here. As you can see, we are off air. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, and our last caller, Sherry West, who is on with us now. Again, I want to reintroduce Tiffany Coe-Bling, one of our other hosts, and all that is the Sistahship, and our amazing Lady Wisdom as well. who is on with us. So we wanted to take a quick moment, couple minutes to close out the show with our final commentary from Sherry West, and close out from there, because it was an extraordinary show, showing the strength of the youth in the community, and all that they are dealing with and challenged with as far as DEI is concerned. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Sherry West. If you can go ahead and just, I know you didn't get a chance to get your thoughts across when you called in, but we're leaving the floor for you on this one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I first off want to let our students know that while at the district level, DEI might be in a bit of a, we'll just say a transformation period, things are alive and well at the high school level. So in the trenches, we are working to promote DEI. We had an activities fair on Friday, and students were told about several things. One, we have a club called the Acceptance Project, where students with differing opinions can come together and have civil discourse. We also have an NAACP Future Leaders Club. And I am one of the co-chairs of the DEI committee at the high school, and recently made a student page so that we could keep the students informed as to what's going on at the high school level. We have been active. We have been meeting since last year. We did have some diversity related activities last year. We had a leap into diversity where we decorated the hallways with flags from different cultures, and homerooms made displays outside of the homeroom, promoting just awareness of different cultures and things like that. So we are progressing, and we are now at the point where we're bringing students into the picture. We really want to get their feedback. And actually on Friday, one of the things that I did at the activities fair was I did ask students for feedback for, what would you do if you were in charge? What do you think we should be doing? What's something maybe that we do that we shouldn't be doing? So we have been collecting input from the students. We will continue to do so, and always welcome their input and participation.
Nice.
We appreciate that, because I think that was really the whole intent of just kind of getting their voice. As I had stated early in the show, when we first started, is, the children are our future. They are getting more involved in being more comfortable in sharing their voices.
Right.
And we're seeing a lot of that over the course of the last probably 10 years, maybe even the last 5 years. But, again, we do appreciate that, because that was the whole intent of having them, giving them a platform with the Sistahship to be able to speak up and speak out, and also to convey what they feel the opportunities are, because they may have some ideas that can help. So I can appreciate you coming on and letting us know that that is now what is actively taking place, from a, high school level. And obviously now you have from a board level. We just want to make sure that, they're getting their voice heard, that their concerns are validated, and that they are getting, progress is happening. I know sometimes progress is slow, but as long as they're engaged, as long as they are part of progress, you'll have a much happier, content system in place. So, we do appreciate the fact that you came on and let us know, or give us that information. So we want to definitely give you that platform.
I appreciate that you gave them an opportunity to speak, because they did speak out before, and that took a lot of bravery and self-confidence, and they were kind of met with crickets. Unfortunately, they spoke in front of the adults who are in charge of running the district, and there's just such dissension there that hopefully can be mended with this next school board election. I'm hoping that we can get a group of adults who are willing to work together and overlook differences and really do what they're supposed to do, which is act in the best interest of students.
Absolutely.
And Ms. West, as we said before, it's not a one and done. We'd like to also probably at some point have a part 2 where the school
Right.
will tell us exactly what's happening.
Most definitely.
Always have our platform open to the kids so that they feel like they can get their voice out there. Again, we did participate in that board meeting that was very, again, they heard crickets. So they came out of that meeting very disheartened at
Very much so.
no one was hearing them, no one was listening to them. And we happened to be there and we were upset as adults, so we knew they had to be, okay?
Right.
Miss Wisdom, do you have anything?
Lady Wisdom.
I just want to actually add that sometimes the kids are not heard, but that's where their parents are supposed to come in and help.
Right.
Majority of the parents are paying taxes, school taxes in these communities. And then their children are not being heard. But I'd like to encourage other parents to participate in showing support for not only your children, but other children, other cultures, other ethnicities, other forms like the DEI. A lot of people don't know. And although Steph had actually explained that in the beginning of the show, what it stood for, but truly understanding that diversity comes, it's equal opportunity human being. That's basically what we are striving to do, is human rights, respect, acknowledge that there's another person beside you. There's a person that needs you. The inclusion part of it is including those with special needs into a mainstream course, but it doesn't make it bad. It actually helps that child learn from examples.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but on that note, we do a fantastic job of that at Stroudsburg. We have a coffee shop called Common Grounds that is run by our special needs students. So they have interaction every day with students that are in the general population. We have a club called Best Buddies where our students pair up with special needs students and they do events and scavenger hunts. And I've always thought that we've really done an excellent job in terms of inclusion. It's
actually
the other
applaud
things we need to work on.
I actually applaud you. I applaud you. I tip my hat to those that do partake and participate. And from the programs that you have identified, and again, I tip my hat off because the acceptance project in itself, I mean, that must include so many people in that the diverse group of everyone, but again, I just want people to know that what you yourself and the students, the schools, I don't want to take away from the schools, but I encourage and invite school staff to help us to help the community know what it is that you're doing, because we hear the disgruntledness in these students that are coming home and they're complaining, but we would need to hear from a staff member or a couple of different school districts to help us to understand what these children are experiencing or what programs are available that they may not know is available to them, where they can go to make them feel like people. We need to be mindful that they are our future. And whether we agree or disagree with what they're choosing and how they're choosing it, we are the example that we set. So if we turn a blind eye and a deaf ear, that's what they're going to remember.
Yeah.
Right.
We also have to be mindful that we need to bring the village back home, get back into some of the old school ways of doing things so that our kids can feel more comfortable in their settings and environments that they're in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need to select people that are going to support that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I talk about candidates? Is this?
So we want to kind of stay away from candidates per se.
Yeah.
I know that there's a bunch of candidates. We are trying to stay away from the political aspect.
Gotcha.
Per se, but we do appreciate. I know you mentioned the candidates and you posted. So there is a list of candidates showing where can they actually get information on the candidates. Let's put it that way so that we're not
Yes.
really
Yeah, so
Okay.
talking about the candidates per se.
Well, I know I'm going to guess the Pocono Record usually, the week before elections will put information out. I know there was a town meeting, but that has passed already. That was, I believe, maybe Saturday night, there was a town hall meeting. But I'll definitely, if I hear of anything else, we'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure.
or even feel free to post it up on the page for us. I mean,
Right.
I think I saw you on the Sistahship Network. There's a group page where everybody can participate and stuff of that nature is accepted in the group. You can just, it'll always be approved by a member or someone who will take a look at to see what it is
Good.
that
Okay.
we posted. And then we will allow it to be posted in the room, but we watch everything that's posted before we allow it to go into the room to make sure that it's okay.
Just as the people do their homework.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's for any election. I agree with you. Back to what Lady Wisdom said, I think it is important for parents to be engaged. I know, there's a lot of challenges with their schedules, work, the home life, everything that's going on. The meetings are twice a month, if I'm not mistaken, the school board meetings. Even if they attend once a month, I mean, for my husband and I, we don't have children. So back to what Lady Wisdom said, I mean, we're still engaged because in our district, because it is important to understand where our tax money is going and how our children are feeling. Because again, they are our future. They are the voice of the future. So we want to make sure that they're getting everything they can out of the school systems that, we are entrusting, our children with. So we do appreciate you joining once again. And any parting words? Any parting words?
I want to just say that the board meetings have been actually made easier to attend. If you can't attend in person, there are Zoom links. We just have to continue to look on the websites and see, click those Zoom links to get in so that you can attend the meeting and see what's going on at the board meetings. Yep.
I believe they're recorded as well.
Okay, perfect.
You make a good point there, Tiffany, as well, because I think even parents may not even be aware there's minutes of the school board. I mean, as they're operating as a board of directors, that is their roles. And with that comes meeting minutes, actions they're taking on certain items that, they are not part of executive session. So it's important that they even if they read what's there and get engaged, whether it be on via Zoom or have any questions and get in touch with the board of directors, they can definitely they have contacts. They can get onto the website and get that information. I just Googled it and I was able to know exactly which board meeting, where I needed to go. So guys, take advantage of the opportunity. Technology today, use it.
And my last word is just get out and vote. Know who the candidates are. Get out, understand what they stand for, and vote.
Right. So with that said, I want to thank everyone again. I have to give a special shout out again to Jessica, who co-hosted, John, who co-hosted with Jessica, Julian, Mateo, Joelle. They were amazing. We're very proud of them. As the Sistahship, we were very enthusiastic. They were very engaging, and we really were happy to know that they were comfortable in the environment they were in, and we were hoping for that so that they can speak very candidly. And I thought they were amazing. They were amazing. So thank you to them. Thank you to Trinae and Andrea, to the parents, and to our beautiful Sistahship. Once again, Lady Wisdom, Tiffany Cobling. This is your girl, Steph Fire, and this is the Sistahship. We'll see you every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Sistahship Network, and we will be live on YouTube as well. So please make sure you check us out, the Sistahship Network on Genesis Radio. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. West. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ms. West. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is. It's rich.
Sistahship, we got this on a brothership unite. Sistership united.
Where my fellas at?
Sistership, we got this on a brothership united. Sistership, we got this on a brothership united.
I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership. I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership.
It's substance, bro, you know we on a mission, let's roll. Yeah. Hop up on the Sistahship show, teach us everything you know. Come on, so we help each other grow. That's how our communities blow.
Yo, sup, you got a sec, I need to build for a minute.
What's up?
Matter of fact, you can chill for a minute. I need a platform where we could talk about some other shit. Get Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership.
Get it right, this real life, we tired of struggling. Airtight on this shot, no more dysfunctioning. We reeling in the sunken in, we bringing in our brother in. The battles that you face and be a cannon with our confidence.
No disrespect to my sisters at all, but it's the barbershop talk. Talk to kid at the ball. I'm talking waves and just a little hustle to get paid, and just a little game to get laid, and the importance of my credit, stock and hip hop education. Now I'm better. Listen, I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. The Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership. Hey, hey, let's go. Hey, hey, it's rich.
Yeah, we on a brothership. Come with us, we on a brothership. Yeah, we on a brothership. Roll with us, we on a brothership.
Sistership, we got this on a brothership united. Sistership, we got this on a brothership united. Sistership, we got this on a brothership united. Sistership, we got this on a brothership united.
I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership. I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get Jews for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership. other shit. Get juice for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership. I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get juice for some other men. I'm looking for a brothership.
It's substance, bro, you know we on a mission, let's roll. Yeah. Hop up on the Sistahship show, teach us everything you know. Come on. So we help each other grow. That's how our communities blow.
Yo, sup, you got a sec, I need to build for a minute.
What's up?
Matter of fact, you could chill for a minute. I need a platform where we could talk about some other shit. Get jewels for some other men, I'm looking for a brothership.
Get it right, this real life, we tired of struggling. Airtight on this shot, no more dysfunctioning. We reeling in the sunken and we bringing in our brother in the battles that you're facing. Be a cannon with our comfort in.
No disrespect to my sisters at all, but it's the barbershop talk. Talk to kid at the ball, I'm talking waves. And just a little hustle to get paid. And just a little game to get laid. And the importance of my credit, stock and hip hop education, now I'm better. Listen, I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get jewels for some other men, I'm looking for a brothership. Hey, hey, let's go. Hey, hey, it's rich.
Yeah, we on a brothership. Come with us, we on a brothership. Yeah, we on a brothership. Roll with us, we on a brothership.
Sistahship, we got this on a brothership united. Sistahship, we got this on a brothership united. Sistahship, we got this on a brothership united. Sistahship, we got this on a brothership united.
I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get jewels for some other men, I'm looking for a brothership. I need a place where I can talk about some other shit. Get jewels for some other men, I'm looking for a brothership.